Engines don't usually die from age, they die from neglect. The truth is, most catastrophic breakdowns start with a problem so small you wouldn't even notice. A low quart of oil, a cracked belt, or coolant that looks just a bit off color. These tiny clues snowball into thousands of dollars in damage faster than you think. Here's the shocking statement. 2 minutes once a month can make the difference between your engine cruising past 300,000 miles or seizing up before 100,000. I'll show you exactly what that 2 minutes looks like. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Imagine spending $20,000 on a car, only for the engine to lock up right after 100,000 miles. No warning lights, no dashboard alarms, just one sudden day where the vehicle gives in and refuses to run. You might think engines are supposed to last longer than that, and you'd be right. The problem isn't the car itself, it's the small, overlooked issues that quietly stack up until the engine can't take it anymore. Take the case of one driver who skipped the basics. For months, their coolant sat low, but the reservoir still looked good enough from the outside. At the same time, a small hairline crack formed on the serpentine belt. None of it seemed urgent, so they ignored both. But then, on a hot summer drive, that faint crack became a full snap at 60 miles an hour. The belt flung itself apart, the water pump stopped spinning, and the engine lost its cooling system in seconds. What followed was a full boil over, steam shooting out, the temperature meter spiking into the red, metal parts swelling from heat until the engine seized completely. That car's story ended right there. This is how early engine death looks in real life. Neglecting what seems like nothing actually sets up a countdown clock. Tiny problems hide in plain sight until they tip over into disasters that cost thousands to repair. A belt break isn't just a snap of rubber. It instantly cuts off vital systems driven by that belt. Low coolant doesn't just sit quietly. It invites overheating, which warps heads, blows gaskets, and turns a functioning car into a paperweight. And the scariest part is how sudden it feels when you're behind the wheel. Mechanics know this pattern well. Talk to almost any shop and they'll confirm that overheating destroys engines faster than nearly anything else. The damage can happen in one incident. When an engine gets too hot, oil loses its protective quality. Bearings scorch, seals harden, and metal parts fuse or warp within minutes. That's why so many failed engines share the same backstory. Cooling systems that were neglected until it was too late. Now here's the part that really stings. It was preventable. A quick glance once a month, 2 minutes at most, could have caught the low coolant before the reservoir ran dry. That same glance could have noticed the belt's small crack, saving the car from breaking down in the middle of a highway. This is the harsh truth. A simple check that costs nothing would have spared a repair bill bigger than the car's value. And that's the clear takeaway. Ignoring the little signals drains your wallet and shortens your engine's life, but prevention is almost free. So if neglect kills engines before their time, the next big question is, what happens when the opposite habit is in place? On the other side of the spectrum, there are cars that seem nearly unstoppable. They cross the 300,000 mile mark and keep going, all without the kind of dramatic failures that usually send cars to the scrapyard. You've probably heard stories like this: an old sedan or a work truck that's still running strong long after most people thought its time was up. So how do engines like these outlast the odds? What's the hidden trick? If you look at delivery vehicles, service vans, and even certain personal cars, the pattern shows up again and again. These machines rack up hundreds of miles every single day, yet some of them last far past 250,000 or even 300,000 miles. What's surprising is they do this without ever having their engines rebuilt. It throws off the idea many drivers have learned to accept, that once a car reaches 150,000 miles, it's basically on borrowed time. At first glance, it seems impossible. Most people expect problems to become unavoidable once mileage climbs. And yes, parts wear out, but here's where the contrast really matters. The vehicles that keep running have something the others don't, a consistent monthly ritual that treats minor checks as non-negotiable. Take one driver's story. Every first Saturday of the month, without fail, he makes a little routine out of it. A cup of coffee in one hand, rag in the other, and a quick walk to the garage. He pulls the dipstick, wipes it clean, and checks the oil's color and level. Then he gives the coolant hoses a squeeze, feeling for weakness or cracks. He glances under the car for any new spots on the floor. The whole process is done in minutes, and yet those short moments mean problems show themselves before they spiral out of control. Picture this habit for yourself. yourself. Just 2 minutes once a month stretched across years and miles adds up. Those casual inspections might not feel like much in the moment, but over decades, they're the very thing keeping the engine alive. By catching a small issue before it becomes urgent, the car avoids stress that would otherwise cut its life short. Research confirms the pattern. Fleet vehicles, like taxis, trucks, or vans, regularly last twice as long as neglected personal cars. Why? Because fleets are bound by maintenance schedules. The vehicles don't wait for problems. They're inspected, topped off, and tested long before a breakdown leaves them stranded. A lot of car owners assume major repairs are just unavoidable. They think transmissions and engines wear out no matter what, but the reality looks different when consistent early detection is at play. Issues like leaking coolant, worn belts, or contaminated oil appear first as small signs. If you act early, they're minor fixes. If you look away, they snowball into catastrophic failures. That's the payoff right there. By spotting coolant that's turned rusty, hoses that feel too soft, or oil that smells more burnt than usual, drivers can shut down a chain reaction before it even starts. And all of it ties back to one simple monthly routine, the 2-minute habit that works like insurance for your engine's future. What if I told you your engine's forever plan takes less time than brushing your teeth? That's not an exaggeration. We're talking about a habit so quick and easy that most people ignore it simply because it feels too small to matter. Yet this exact ritual is the thin line between cars that die before their time and cars that quietly run for decades. Think about how most people interact with their car's engine. They only crack the hood when something's already wrong. A weird noise, a flashing warning light, or an overheating episode on the highway. By that point though, the damage is already underway. The hidden problem that caused the failure has been building for months, maybe even years, and when it surfaces, it usually demands a repair bill you're not ready for. That's why the monthly ritual is so powerful. It pushes you ahead of the failure curve. Here's how simple it is. Step 1. Pull the dipstick and check your oil. Clean amber oil with a smooth texture is a good sign, while darker, gritty oil that smells burnt is a red flag. Step 2. Glance at your coolant reservoir. The level should sit between the marks, and the color should look bright, not rusty or cloudy. Step 3. Look at your belts and hoses. Firm rubber that isn't cracked means they're healthy. Soft spots, cracks, or fraying edges mean replacement is coming. That's it. Oil, coolant, belts, and hoses. 2 minutes, maybe less. Picture this scenario. A driver notices small stains on his driveway during this quick monthly ritual. Because he checked, he finds a hairline leak in a coolant hose. Replacing that simple hose costs him under $50. If he hadn't caught it, the coolant would have leaked completely, the engine would have overheated, and he could have faced a $4,000 head gasket replacement. That's the exact difference these checks create. A cheap fix instead of catastrophic failure. And it doesn't have to stop there. Affordable tools make those 2 minutes even stronger. Plugging in an OBD2 scanner once a month flags hidden trouble codes before the check engine light even appears. A quick squeeze on the PCV valve can reveal clogging issues that, left unchecked, shorten the life of the engine oil. Testing the battery voltage with a handheld meter gives you a heads up on electrical weakness before a car strands you in a parking lot. Each of these extras adds only seconds, but the payoff is massive. Engines don't wear out just because of age. They fail because drivers ignore small issues until they become big ones. That's why this 2-minute monthly routine matters so much. It's the difference between replacing an engine before 100,000 miles or keeping one healthy past 300,000. Neglect drains your wallet with repairs, but prevention costs almost nothing. Checking oil, coolant, and belts takes less time than a phone scroll, yet saves years of engine life. The question isn't whether a car can last, it's whether you'll give it those 2 extra minutes to make sure it actually does.